Okay, so third time's the charm. We're going to try it potentially just one more time and see where it goes. Come on in, join us, hang out. For those that are maybe watching this afterwards, if you don't know, I did one live stream just a few minutes back. After 20 minutes, it got taken down. So this is basically a part 2 to that. Part 2 actually was taken and didn't even work. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. And we'll talk more about Scream 6 if we can get this thing to work, which is annoying because we were having a lot of fun. But we'll just go from there. I guess until we get people that come in. How about that box office, huh? I do want to talk about the box office because made a lot of money. You know, I made the video earlier in the week. I'm not looking at like its individual days, like every day that the movie is out, so that I don't kind of get spoiled. But I do very much assume this is the week, on Sunday, we'll know that this movie beat Scream 5 already. Just in 3 weeks, it will have beaten Scream 3. Scream 3. That's because I saw Scream 3 on this chat. It'll have beaten Scream 5, which is awesome. What if Mark is revealed as the second killer from Scream 3? He was obsessed with Sid, met her, and betrayed Roman. Now with marital issues, he is revealed as Ghostface along with Danny. I don't like that. I don't like that. I like that they were playing around with him as a potential. Like, he was a red herring in 3. But I really like that character, and I don't think... like, Sydney's found peace in the way. Even if she's brought back for 7, say, and she has to go through things, she's still found peace. Like with her family and with her kids, her 2 girls, right? So if you make her husband a killer and all that stuff, that Sydney should always, how I think you should always do Sydney from like this point going forward. If Nev comes, if the money's right, all that stuff, she comes, she does her adventure, and she goes back with Mark and the kids. You know what I mean? Maybe you can have Patrick Dempsey come back at some point, but I think the general idea should be, she does her stuff, and then she goes back, and she's with Mark and all them. We need a Scream panel with you and Zach Cherry. Back when I was bringing everybody together with Scream 5, which I do think I was the person to do that. I've had all the Scream creators, Ryan Showers and Scream Obsessed. Remember, we had all of them. So I did all of that back with Scream 5. I reached out to Zach Cherry, and I never got a response. Now, Steven of Craven Something Scary, he talked to him. I'd love to talk to Zach about Scream, but he never responded. So I don't know if he would maybe need to reach out to me. I don't know how that would work. I don't have Twitter, so you'd have to email. That's true. They nuked my Twitter, just like they nuked my stream on YouTube. I think something's going on here. Do you think Scream 7 would need to work around Jenna's schedule? Because season 2 of Wednesday will take around 8 months. Holy Jesus. Yeah, I think the proper thing to do is to work it around Jenna, not to have Jenna try to work it around Scream. Unless you just, but you do have to work it around her to some degree, because even if you say, well, maybe she's only in it for 2, 3, 4 weeks, so she's got a smaller role. I mean, I wouldn't like that, number one. That wouldn't necessarily be fine. But even if it would be fine, you still have to work with her because she's got 4 or 5 movies that she's going to be filming. She's got Wednesday season 2. You either work with her or she's not going to be in the film, period. So, and I assume that's not going to happen. So I do think they'll have to work with her. What makes you like the Scream franchise so much? I find it cool you like it but aren't a horror fan. Yeah, would love to see you react to / rank the Halloween franchise. Yeah, no, that's a great question. I don't know. I think it's the characters. I think it's the mystery. Mystery is probably the biggest thing. I love the idea of a whodunit. And I just really like the characters. I always really, really liked Sydney. I loved Billy and Stu, right, with Scream 1. And the movies never really dropped off in quality. They were always, there was different set pieces, different her in them in the car with Scream 2 when it's crashed, and that's a very tense scene, really, really well done. So I've just always found those moments to be awesome. I've always been into the characters and the story of it. not necessarily the kills. The kills come secondary, and there's been some cool kills, and then there's also been some lame kills. Like we've talked about Scream 3. I think Scream 3 has extremely lame kills. So that's a great question. And I think it's also because it's not real. Like horror movie, it's a horror movie in the sense that it's a slasher and blood and people die and stuff, but it's not all that scary. Ghostface is not all that scary in terms of his look. It's always a person behind the mask, So yeah, I think it's kind of special in that way. And now, Jake, if you want to get mad at me, though, if you want something to if you want a reason to not like me, I've actually reviewed, I believe, both Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. I really don't like either of them. I think I gave reasons for why I don't like either of them. But I've actually reviewed both on my second. I think if you type in podcast now and then like Halloween Kills review, I think you'd find it. It's just on my second channel. But I really don't like those last two movies. But I don't think I'd be opposed. I love the first Halloween. I think the first Halloween's great. I love Happy Death Day. I think that's a great franchise. Like the first Nightmare on Elm Street. But Freddy Krueger always scared me. Like the idea of killing somebody in their dreams always terrified me. So, but you know what I do as well, though. This may not be totally for all of you guys, but for the Scream crowd, like I play horror games. I'm afraid of horror games, but I'm definitely like for horror movies, I just don't do it. I'm like afraid of them, and I also just don't even give them the time of day to watch them. For horror games, I'm afraid of them, but I still play them. I have opinions on the Outlast series, Amnesia, Resident Evil, not as horror-like as those other ones, but I love horror games. The Quarry, Until Dawn. I was a fan. I've seen a lot of people simping. Is that a word? Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? I've seen a lot of people bowing down to Until Dawn as like Hayden, Hayden Panettiere is in Until Dawn, and she does a great job, and she's the final girl in that game. And I see a lot of Twitter posts, like fangirl kind of things, saying, Slay Queen and all this stuff of how great she was. It's like I was on the Until Dawn train years before these people, years before the people on Twitter, these fan accounts. I've been singing the praises of Until Dawn since 2016. So I mean that too. I've done like almost yearly videos on that series, or on that game. Everyone talks about Sam's darkness, but what if Tara is the one who snaps under the pressure? She was laughing and crying after stabbing Ethan. Yep. Now, and I saw an interview where they talked about the head turn that Tara gives Sam right before she kills Bailey. And their explanation is Tara acknowledging that, almost doubting, because like Sam's basically saying like, I'm not a killer, and Tara's like, well, aren't you though? And that's what the head turn, that's how they wrote it, that's how they directed it. I don't love that. I kind of like the idea. I mean, it's fine if that's the idea. I like the idea that maybe she's a little crazy as well, and she's saying, well, he is right there, like, let's just take him out. You know what I mean? So that's something that I think Tara can go kind of dark. But listening to that interview and listening that head turn was more of like, come on, Sam, like you actually are the way that you are. So I don't know. Breakups, thank you, buddy, for the super chat. I guess super chats. Oh, by the way, let me say this. I think this is probably very important because this is the third of these streams. Notifications are all over the place. People watching after again. Can you guys please just do me a favor? The super chats, of course, I super appreciate, and I thank you guys for. Just leave a like. As many of you as humanly possible, just hit the like button. We got to get this thing, going. Obviously, because YouTube just decided to murder my streams. But thanks, honestly, man, Breakops. I've seen. Yeah, I said it before. Breakups for the super chat now, and obviously thank you to Cloud Roth and all of you guys who did it before. Truly, thanks. Those super chats count. Don't think you like threw your money into like a trash bin or something. Those things still will make it to me. I've seen Scream 6 4 times now in 3D on days off. That's awesome. I'm curious how strange it's going to be for me to finally see it in standard. 3D isn't amazing, but it adds so much depth to the scenes, especially Ghostface. There's still one showing per day at my AMC for Scream in 3D. There's like there's one time a day where it's 3D, and then there's like 6 or 7 shows in just like the normal format. So, I guess it's still possible, but I I mean, 3D, my first time with like 3D was like Spy Kids 3D. That was one of the first 3D movies I think I've ever seen in my life. I'll tell you a story how wimpy I am. Okay, this actually follows me because of this horror stuff. So when I saw Spy Kids 3D, I didn't like it because I didn't like it coming like out on screen. Most of that movie, and I watched like my family, like my dad and my mom and my sister were all there. I'd put my glasses like down on my like the bridge of your nose, and I would watch the movie from the top. So I'd watch it in 2, even though it was a 3D screen. It really hurt my eyes, but I watched it not in 3D, and I actually did that for that one. So that's how big of a wimp I am. There's no way. I think for Scream, I probably could watch it in 3D because I'd like where I couldn't watch it the first time in 3D because like you don't know when things are coming. I'd be too scared. But I think I could watch it now in 3D. Okay. I think in 10 years or so, we'll get another reboot focusing on Sydney's kids. I think, where Sydney will actually die at the hands of one of her kids, maybe, the ultimate betrayal. I was with you until that ending. I do not think she would die. But I do think we could get a franchise focused on her kids. Like, I do think that's possible. Third time's the charm. It is. I really want Sam and Ghostface to have a chase scene in 7. Yeah, like a nice meaty, there was a couple of them in this one, and Sam and Tara ran through, the theater kind of thing. But, Sam versus Ghostface, just a chase scene. I'd like to see that as well. I think that's possible. If they do the Sydney running through the house thing in 3, don't do another recreation of Woodsboro. But if you did that with Sam, I think, you could get that chase scene. Who's your greatest and least greatest killer reveal? Okay. Well, I think of all the movies. I think like if you're talking about this one, the best one was Quinn taking it off. I like that. Ethan was like, okay, well, no duh. You could have chased them around for half this movie without your mask on, and I still would have known it was, I would have predicted it even before that. Probably greatest, I think Stu. Well, the Billy and Stu thing happened so close to each other, right? So Sydney gives him the gun. He, I think he locks the door, and then we all go a little crazy sometimes, whatever the line he does. Tilts his head. That's the very first, non-ghost face with the mask on. That's the very first tilting the head. So he tilts the head. He's got the gun. So that's like legendary. That's iconic. But I would honestly say when she runs for the kitchen and Stu stops her, she runs into Stu. Stu, help me. Help me. And then he takes out the modulator. Surprise, Sydney. It's so good. That I think may be better than Billy's just because there's still a 50-50 shot that Stu isn't the killer. And Matthew Lillard sells it really well where he's kind of scared. When Sydney runs into him in that door frame, he's kind of scared. Like he's looking at Billy and he's got his mouth open, right? But then, he pulls out the thing and it surprised Sydney. And it's so good. And it's like, oh, she's screwed. You know what I mean? It's so good. So that's got to be the best. The worst probably is this one with and it's like Bailey and Ethan. I'd say the Bailey and Ethan because it's so obvious. It's so obvious it's them. I think Jill's is very good. I think when Sydney runs away from Charlie and then Jill stabs her and then she takes off the mask and she's just got this kind of energy to her. I think that's phenomenal. I like Roman's a lot actually too. Takes it off. Sydney has no idea who this guy is, and then he keeps talking. I like his as well. So I'd like to do maybe a ranking of that, just, Ghostface reveals. But I think that's what I would say. First one is the best of both of them. And then Bailey and Ethan. I like Quinn. I like Quinn's because you truly don't know, I guess. I think you could have predicted it was Quinn. But when she takes off, I think she's, hey, roomies. Like, that's her first line. I like that. That's a good line. So I think I'd say that. Hey, Alex, do you like the old Sierra and LucasArts games from the 80s and early 90s? Any adventure games like Broken Sword? I think, is it Rogue Dark Legacy? I watched gameplay because there's actually going to be a new Star Wars game that reminds people of like the late 90s. I'd say the late 90s Star Wars games is when I first started getting into it. That's kind of where my knowledge of games, probably from like late 90s, early 2000s on. That's kind of where my bread and butter is probably like 2008 to now, like any of that. I think I'm really good. But I think I could go further into the early 2000s, but nothing in like the early 90s. I know about them, like a Castlevania, of course, legendary, stuff like that. Yeah, that's a good question. You gotta keep me on my toes with the gaming knowledge. You play Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is a phenomenal game, and I jumped into that game about a year after it came out. I got Ghostface when he came out. I don't know what kind of my wife and I played it a lot when we were actually dating. Yeah, it's how we met basically. Without getting too into the weeds in the story, we kind of met through Dead by Daylight. So I have a forever love of that game because of other reasons. I also just think it's a phenomenal game. It's a game I've definitely fallen out of love of. I haven't played it in years, like 2 years, but I'll never not love that game. Dead by Daylight's great. You know who loves Dead by Daylight as well as Beyond the Mask. If you guys not, I've talked to Beyond the Mask quite a bit, back and forth behind the scenes. Nice guy, and he loves Dead by Daylight a lot as well. My girlfriend is overhearing this and said you need to watch House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, and 3 from Hell. It's a great series. Those all sound kind of scary though. Like I watched is it 28 Days Later? Yeah, 28 Days Later. I love that movie. I think that's a great movie. So I watch things like that, but that's probably as far as I would go. Happy Death Day, like the most, or Halloween. Like again, I've watched all 3 of the recent Halloween movies, but I watched the Texas Chainsaw. God, what an awful atrocity that was. What else did I watch? I haven't seen like Child's Play, the show. I haven't seen that. I don't know what else there is. I don't know what else there is. I don't really keep up. You know what I mean? I like that I'm very different. Like, the comment earlier from Jake, I think, right? Like me not being into horror movies but liking Scream. I think that's so different. Not necessarily, it just makes me different than like any of the other Scream creators. Like I come at it just from a different angle. Final Destination. I do like the Final Destination movies. My wife just threw that out there. Yeah? The Final Destination movies are so tense, like especially the first one. Yeah, it makes you like question your movement decisions in life of like where you're standing and what you're around and stuff. Yeah. I'm one of those people that hate watching movies in 3D now. It always seems like it's lower quality looking through the glasses. Yeah. I just don't do it. But I mean 3D I think is like better now than ever, right? I don't know. I haven't seen Avatar 2. My wife did. I don't think she didn't see it in 3D though. So I think a James Cameron 3D movie would probably be fine. What's your official ranking of the movies? Just saw 6 for my second time. Absolutely love the Radio Silence movies, but nostalgia for Wes's 4 keeps me from ranking them higher. Huge Scream 3 fan. Well, like I said, Jake, a few weeks ago I watched Scream 3 again, and I have a new appreciation. I still think the beginning is weak. I still think the deaths are just super lame compared to the others. A lot of forgettable side characters, but those are the weaknesses. The strengths of 3 are very, very high up there. So I really do like 3. I think I've bagged on it too much, and I actually, I think it deserves more. Official rankings. Well, I don't want to give you I'm going to do a video ranking them all. I would say 1 is my favorite. I'd say 6 is in the top half. I'd have to kind of debate. And I'd say either 5 or 3 is the weakest. I think, just try to dance around. But I'm going to have a video, like a full video. It's a good question. But that's kind of a loose outline. You can kind of place half of them like that, I think, right? I think a cool concept would be 2 ghost faces operating at the same time, but they're not connected and have different ghost face motives. They're competing. Yes. But here's the thing. So I love that idea. They kind of did that in the beginning of 6. Like, that kind of was the base idea that Greg and Jason were going to kill, which, again, like, I really like it even more knowing how great Sam is, because it's like they never stood a chance, right? One of them was cut up and put into a fridge. Jason, did all the things with Laura as a character and, had the phone call. He would have been eaten alive by Sam. That would not have worked out very well, them going after. But honestly, to your suggestion, they kind of did that. They were going to go after. Now, it's a little, yours is more separating because theirs was they're going to kill Sam and Tara. They were doing it for a different reason, but their goal was the same. and then Bailey and them also wanted to kill Sam and Tara for a different reason, and they just needed to stop Greg and Jason. So they kind of did that. I think Jill's the most shocking reveal. Mrs. Loomis is the most clever. Yes, I think Mrs. Loomis is the most clever. Because you just don't... I mean, on first watch, who sees that coming, right? Who sees that coming? Amber's is pretty shocking. Amber's I like. If you mean shocking as in, like, just blowing Liv's head, that's shocking. That's like, oh my dear God, they went for it. However, she was so obvious, and also you knew from the trailers and stuff she was the killer ahead of time. So it really deflates from the impact of the reveal. I think what she does to reveal herself to the cast in the movie, I think it's up there. It's like elite. But I think from, like, was I surprised by it? I was surprised by her action. I wasn't surprised she was Ghostface. So she's tough. She's a tough one to judge. I liked Richie's. Richie's is it's nothing flashy. It's nothing all that special. Just stabbing Sam, right? But it's a really nice twist. It comes at a really nice time. I feel like they set everything up to work really well. So I'm pretty happy with Richie's. I mean, all of them. I think a lot of them do really well, you know? So... Alex, you think Sam being a killer is possible in 7? Is Kirby's return if there's a new one guaranteed? I don't think Kirby's guaranteed to always be in them, which actually makes me sad because she should always be in them. So I just want to throw that out there. If they do a Scream movie, I think like Gale, Sydney, and Kirby should be automatics. If they're not, that's a negative to me. So I want her to be in it. I think she would be in it, but I don't think it's like a guarantee. Sam being a killer... Again, from like the interviews I've gotten, I'll tell you, I saw one interview specifically with Matt and Tyler where they flat out said they would not like if Sam went all the way. It's not their call. It's, Jamie and Guy's call, the writers, but they specifically, but they collaborate. They'll show them the draft. They'll go through things. They'll change the script based off of what Matt and Tyler say. So there's a collaboration there. Matt and Tyler, I feel, have made it pretty clear they do not want Sam. Their idea of Sam is that she's willing to embrace the darkness when necessary, like a light dark thing in Star Wars. She's willing to embrace it, but then she's willing to pull back. Maybe she goes too far, but then she'll also, again, pull back from it. So I think it's... Huh? Yeah, maybe she's Batman. So I think it's possible, but I don't think she would literally be a Ghostface killer that goes on like a murder spree. I don't think they would direct the film. They would say, no, we're not doing that. So. Hi, Alex. Of the directors that made Scream 5 and 6 don't return for 7. Who do you think should direct 7? Well, there was a issue with my lack of horror stuff. Is I don't know enough directors in the horror space. I didn't know. I have seen Ready or Not. I think it's a good movie. But I don't know. I didn't know Matt and Tyler like by name. You know what I mean? And even when they first were like announced, it's like I don't know who these people are. So I actually don't know who I would like nominate. I think I would stick with them. I don't think there's anything wrong with the direction. I think if anything, you just want maybe you bring in some new blood to the writer's room or something. You add an extra voice in there to try to kick off some new ideas. But I think the direction. Now I'm not saying you're saying you should fire them. I think there's worry that they may not be available, but I think they'll be available. I think they'll do it. I liked Amber's reveal. Obviously her, but didn't expect the reveal to be too sudden. Yeah, okay, yeah. If that's what we mean by Amber's reveal, then I totally agree. I think that was shocking in the way that she did it. And especially her line, "Welcome to the final act." Like that's so meta and it's so good. Like I think that worked really well. Michael Joe, what's up, buddy? They're called King's Quest, Space Quest, Broken Sword. Those are the ones I like, really old school adventure games. I think I've heard of them. Now, I've watched like Angry Video Game Nerd, a legend who's really fallen off in recent years, but at his peak of Angry Video Game Nerd, I mean, come on. It was incredible. So I feel like he's probably played some of those, and I've probably watched them. Because I do King's Quest, I definitely recognize that name. I love Dead by Daylight. Yeah, I think Ghostface is one of the better killers. They are called killers in Dead by Daylight. I think it's a pretty cool mechanic of like a stalking kind of thing. When I think I actually pitched, if you go back, it's actually one of my most viewed videos. It got like 60, 70,000 views back in the day. I pitched ideas for Ghostface killers. I think I said Chucky would be one, and I pitched Ghostface. Now, for Ghostface, I think I wanted a mechanic where they would like answer a phone. I really like went for it, right? But there's some of them that do it, like Jigsaw. There's like the game you have to play, and that you can put on like the bear trap on their head. So there are like things. There are things in that game that kind of go for it. They didn't really go for it with Scream, but Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers is a good one. I've seen like documentary deep dives into Hellraiser is one. Like I've seen the first Hellraiser. I've watched a lot of people do breakdowns of like every I'm pretty fascinated with the Hellraiser films, even though I don't watch them, which is odd, right? Because that's a very gory kind of franchise. I've seen a lot of like breakdowns of those films and where they went wrong and all that stuff. I like that. I like good long like breakdown videos on movies and even games. In fact, my third YouTube channel, Podcast Now Back to the Past, is that for games. I try to do breakdowns, long discussions about older games. Barbarian was a good horror film. I've heard of it, but I did not see it. Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees kill people in their sleeps, then Ghostface. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I've seen that. What are we talking about right now? Just pretty much anything horror, I suppose. Beyond the Mask channel. Are you a fan account that like follows him? What's up, buddy? In the original script, Ethan killed his mom because his mom didn't believe going to kill Sam. Yeah, I think Liana Liberato said that in an interview yesterday. I don't know if my wife Christiane, she heard it. So the original script was they killed their own mom. So, but here's the thing, like, doesn't Bailey say, somebody said, oh no, I think maybe like an early script, or is it in the movie where the wife left him? Yeah, I think they mentioned something about the wife leaving because she couldn't like bear to see them. So in the original script, they actually killed their mom. That would have been pretty wild. Unpopular opinion, Sydney is probably the best final girl, but Sam is the most fascinating final girl. I found myself rooting for Sam in 6 more than I have rooted, not all the time for Sydney, but in some of the 4 that Sydney's the final girl. I've rooted for, does that make sense? I rooted for Sam more in 6 than sometimes I've rooted for Sydney in some of those 4. It's tough. Like, you do root for her. Like, you root for her in 1. I rooted for her pretty hard, like, in 3. I think 3 is a pretty unique environment that she's in. 2 and 4, maybe not so much, but still an okay amount. I agree. I mean, I think Sam's not better, but I also, but comparing them maybe makes people upset, right? And I think it's okay. It's okay to not compare them. It's okay to compare them if you want to. I think they're just pretty different. Like, Sam is definitely, if it was their goal to make Sam a very different kind of final girl that really went into that kind of darkness, had a different kind of family relationship than Sydney had with like a Dewey or Mark or whatever. This is a different, kind of person. I think she's great. I think they set out to make her different, and she flat out is different, and that's good. So I avoided all trailers and TV spots for Scream 6 and was so thankful I did. Not knowing the bodega scene and the ladder sequence made it so much more intense. I envy you. Honestly. I mean, look, it helped the channel, it helped content, it helped revenue, all that stuff. So in some ways, I wouldn't give it away. I wouldn't give it up. I still would cover it the same way. But I've talked about this before. I envy people for gaming, for movies, for Scream, I guess, specific, or even like Pirates of the Caribbean. People that just go see these things or play these games raw. They never saw anything leading up. I mean, come on. Like, the experience that you must have is so different than the experience we have, right? If you don't know the Annika ladder thing and her being if you don't know that stuff is coming, like, what a wild ride that 10 minutes must have been for you. You know what I mean? I think it was still a wild ride. I think you could see it in trailers and it would still be absolutely incredible. But to not even know that the ladder thing and the shaking of the ladder, and like to not even know that's coming, because you do know it's coming, but to not know it's coming must be insane. You know what I mean? So, there's a sense that I envy those people. I wouldn't give it up because I think I love the discussions. We did live streams on the ladder sequence itself. I had a blast talking to people. It's content. It got view. It helps the channel. All that good stuff. I wouldn't give it away. But I do envy a close friend of mine. He he doesn't look at like anything. He doesn't look at any trailers. He picks kind of the games, or he'll ask me if there's any games coming out, and he plays games just, again, like uncensored. He doesn't know anything about it, and his experience, I assume, must be incredible and is way better than my experience, I think. So, have you seen X and Pearl? I did see X. I watched it online. I did not see Pearl. I liked X. Drop a like. Yes. If you guys haven't left a like yet, please do. YouTube. If you're new to the channel, or you jumped on this live stream and you weren't paying attention an hour ago, YouTube like nuked my first 2 live streams. This is my 3rd time doing it. So likes definitely help, because this video is not going to do well, after the fact, as a live stream. So hit the like button, share it around. Really just hit the like button, I would say. You think Scream 7 will get a brutal death? Yeah, I think like Wes's death in 5 was pretty crazy. Amber getting lit on fire was, even Dewey being stabbed both ways. I think they try to do some pretty different stuff with the deaths. The issue with 5, right, was it was just all about building tension and then letting go and then building up again. It was the same way of killing people each time in 5, but each one was a little bit. Judy's death was kind of like a jump scare, almost like a surprise kind of thing. I think they did. I think they've diversified the deaths pretty well in both of the movies. So I think in 7 they would do the same thing. If you had to off Chad or Mindy in 7, who would you pick and why? Going into 6, I would have said Chad, but now I'd have to say Mindy. Yep, I'm exactly with you, Jake. I'm exactly with you. I think going into 6, I would have said Chad, because he really doesn't have any value. Now I think Chad has much more value than Mindy, and I like him more than Mindy, so I would say Mindy. And I think you got to kill one of them. I really do. I think you got to kill one of them. I think Mindy's that one. If you do watch Barbarian, going 100% blind, you will not see the twist coming. Yeah, no, honestly, if I do watch Barbarian, it would be blind, because I haven't seen anything on it. I think I've seen a trailer, but I don't remember it too much. What's another one I was just thinking? Don't Breathe. I've watched both of those. I really like the first one. Second one's kind of weird. Huh? I said that. But Don't Breathe is a good one. I did. I watched It Follows. I've watched both of the It movies. That one, It 2 was, I think, and Christy my wife was there. It 2 is probably the scariest movie I've seen in theaters. I think I'd be willing to say that. I don't think I've seen a scarier, and I knew it was going to be scary, and I just kind of took it. I expected it. But see, It 2 was really all just jump scares. That was the whole, there was nothing really all that creepy. I think 1 had more of the, and I didn't watch 1 in theaters. 1 had more of the creepiness. 2 was more of just jump scares. And I think that was kind of a criticism of it. I would say It 2 was the scariest film I've seen in theaters, because I haven't seen, I don't see horror movies in theaters for sure. So yeah, this is fun. Alex, keep up the good work, man. I'm really into your videos. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. And just so you know, on my second channel, Podcast Now Plus, what I'm starting to do is, I was reviewing every episode of The Last of Us. With The Last of Us now done, every Sunday I'm doing a movie topic. So whether it's an old movie review or talking news about a new movie. So maybe I could even do some older, movies that I missed out on, or go back, watch a movie from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. But it's my second. Yeah, well, I'm going to review. So, next week, we're seeing Dungeons & Dragons. I will have a review on that. All movie reviews, except for Scream, and if a Pirates movie, God allowing, comes out. Any movie review that I do that's not those will be on my second channel, Podcast Now Plus. And there are movie reviews. I reviewed John Wick last night. There's a movie review. So if you guys are into movies, honestly, I know this channel, you watch the Scream stuff and you probably don't watch anything else. But if you're into movies, I'm doing, maybe a video a week or so on my second channel on things that are not Scream, just other movies. So go check that out. The link's in the description. But I'm going to start doing that. So maybe The Barbarian, or is it just Barbarian? Or The Barbarian. Maybe I can watch that and maybe do a review on a random Sunday on the second channel. When do you think Sam will end up becoming evil? I think with the Billy Loomis hallucinations, there must be a time where she turns evil, or it'd be kind of pointless. Yeah, I think I think there's got to be a time where she maybe takes it too far, and then she has to decide, is this who I want to be, or am I going to completely reject him forever for good? And I think the next movie is going to be that. I think she'll reject him, right? She'll say, get out of my head, and it'll be some sort of, honestly, so the ending of 3, when Mark tells Sydney, we're watching a movie, and she walks in, and the door blows open behind her because of the wind, and she turns around, and you just kind of like expect something to happen, or historically you would expect something to happen there, but the idea is she doesn't see anything, she's okay with it. And then also when the movie ends, there is no jump. There's no Ghostface doing the knife cleaning or any kind of activity, right? So for Scream 1 and 2, you had that Ghostface to signal there'd be more. For Scream 3, there was none, but also there was the ending of the movie where Sydney makes peace with the door was just blown open, and I didn't freak out. I don't think there's anyone there. I'm going to walk away. I think Sam will have that exact same moment with Billy. I think we'll expect, like, historically, that Billy would talk to her. Maybe she looks into a puddle, which she did in 5. I think she'll look at a reflection, and he won't be there, and she'll smile, and she'll walk away. That if I were to predict the ending scene of Scream 7 a year in advance, that's the scene. Book it. And maybe I'll do a video on that, because I think I'm going to be right, and I think I'd be the first person to say it. You got to be confident when you do this stuff, by the way. Let's see. Why does it let me, like, click? Oh, I see. YouTube has a weird thing with these comments. I really want them to focus on the mystery aspect in Scream 7. Yeah. When will it be announced? I think Scream 7 could be announced in a week, 2 weeks. I think it's very soon. Do you think Stu faked his own death like Quinn? I mean, I think it's still possible, but I personally do not. I think it's still a possibility. Well, at this point, I really don't think he'll ever come back to life, but I do think Matthew Lillard could appear as a Force ghost, a flashback, something like that. I do think he could come back, but I don't think he'd be alive. Yeah, he would just be somebody's father. What would you do to make Scream 7 feel as unique as 6? It has to be somewhere different, right? So if you're going to do the Hollywood thing, you have to make it, you just have to do it differently than what you did in 3. There would be no easy way around that. But I think the environment is the first thing that you'd have to do. I think the motive should probably be different, so whatever that motive is. I think if you again, play with Sam going back and forth with the darkness, if that was like your main focus, I think you would factually make that different than the other than at least the first 3, and 5 and 6, I think, to a degree. I think if you went back to 2 killer, like just doing a lot of things that 3 didn't do, I think would make it kind of feel unique. If there's 2 killers, right? Because 3 only had 1. So if people are expecting there to be 1 killer in Scream 7 and then there's 2, I think that would be kind of shocking, right? And so, yeah, that'd be some of the stuff that I would do. I'd kill one of the twins, Mindy or Chad, and I would consider killing one of Tara or Sam. I'd throw that petition out there. I think the deaths, like killing a couple main characters, would make it. If you kill Mindy and Tara, just throwing it out there, if you killed those 2, the movie immediately would be different. Like it would just feel the stakes. Like if you watch it a second time, you would just know that these stakes, it's heightened. Like everything's just a little bit different. So that's what I would kind of do. Petition for Alex to be in Scream 7. You can be the first victim. I don't think I would sell it. I think I could do like a background thing, like just a person walking. I was watching, like I said, I watched John Wick Chapter 4 last night. Fantastic film. And, a thing I was thinking about afterwards is you think about how long the action sequences are, but there's so many people that John Wick, eliminated, let's say. I feel like, if you called me, I think I could do like a random soldier, like maybe I could shave my head or something, give me a hat. I think I could be a random soldier holding a gun, checking the stairs, and then I get shot, or we do just really quickly like a couple move, like a flip thing. Keanu flips me over and like kills me. I think I could do that. I think I'd have the experience I know how to do rolls. I know how to flip people. I know how to be flipped. Like I know how to do hand-to-hand stuff. Like I think I could do it. So I was just thinking about that, last night, because there had to be hundreds of extra. Yeah, isn't that the dream to be in a movie with Keanu Reeves? But I was thinking about that last night, like all those extras in that film. A lot of extras. And they're not just extras in, well, there's some people in the club. There's all those people that are just dancing while everybody's dying around them. There's those kind of extras, but then there's also the extras that are being murdered, like 500 of them throughout the movie. That's a lot of extras that you have to find those people. I can do it. It could be the same, yeah, it could be the same people. You think Tara and Chad are now the new Gale and Dewey? If so, do you think they could survive 7? I don't. So I've said it before, maybe controversially. I don't think there is a new Gale. I think Gale is Gale still, and there is no new one. I do think Chad is Dewey. I think Sam and Tara are both Sydney. That's what I would say. So I don't think there's actually a Gale. But by saying that, if you want to consider Tara one half of Sydney, then that would also save Tara, right? Tara wouldn't die, and neither would Chad. But if Mindy is supposed to be Randy, I think it's possible. Have you seen Evil Dead? I've never seen an Evil Dead movie from start to finish, ever. This new one looks terrifying. There's no way I'm seeing it. So I just like to throw that out there. Radio Silence said in an interview that Josh Ghostface monologue for 6 was incredible. Wonder if he could be Ghostface in 7. Yep, I did see that. I saw, you guys had told me last week, watch those interviews. Several of them read a monologue for Ghostface, and Josh's was really good. I like I said, I think he could be the Cotton of 7. I don't want him to be. Like that's honestly where I'm at. I think Danny could be the opening kill of 7 in some ways. Cotton was like cheating, right? So not like that. He seems like a great guy, Danny. You don't want to be friends with this guy. But I think you could kill him in the opening. I don't want them to, but I think he would be the person that you would do. So we'll know from the trailer. Like you would I think from the trailer, it's true for both of these. 5, if you knew nothing about the lead up, see, like Jenna Ortega talked a lot about Drew Barrymore before the trailer. So when the trailer comes and it's Tara, well, firstly, the trailer literally starts with the phone call and Tara picks it up, and it's all of these homages to, Casey Becker in 1. So she's the opening, right? And you see several scenes from that. In 6, they did a lot better at hiding it. I think if you went in completely blind, I don't know if you'd fully be able to predict that Samara Weaving is the opening. But I think if you pay attention to the trailer or TV spots, I think she's first. So I do think there's a theme, right? You can't really hide that. So I think in Scream 7, we would be able to figure out who's the opening. And even from how much they're in the trailer, right? So if it's Danny and you show that in the trailer for Scream 7 and he's not in the rest of the movie, well, that's a pretty good sign he may die there, right? So the openings are very tough. It's why they kind of do characters that are on the outskirts, or they bring in people, celebrities that are not part of the franchise. It's why they do that, because if you show a character doing it, then you're, you know what I mean? Now in 5, like, you do see Tara, like, the back of her head in the wheelchair. You see, like, that one shot. But again, if you're paying attention, you say, okay, she makes it. So she's the opening, but she's also in this other scene. So they kind of gave it away. But it's hard because showing the opening in your trailer from a character that makes it and is in the rest of the movie is pretty hard to do. I don't really fault them for that. What are your choices for where Scream 7 will be set? I do think Hollywood. My guesses are London, where Tara and Sam's mom is, or a tropical resort in the summer. Like, I'll always know what you did last summer. Yeah, I like the tropical thing. I think that was a floated out idea for 7. I would take that. I think it'll be Hollywood. Scream 7 will bomb. I don't know. 6 is doing better than 5. I don't know if 7 would do better than 6, but I guess what's your definition of it bombing? LOL, everyone mostly got stabbed 3 times inch. I don't know what that was too, but in Scream 6, I did see Sam when she sees Billy Ghostface costume. I think she won't. I don't know what you're saying there. Danny is a secret Ghostface. Watch. Maybe, but I really, I don't know. I feel like that kind of hurts him in 5 a bit, or 6 a bit. I really liked him in 6. Do you think we'll ever get another Scream movie with Cindy as the lead? Probably not. They could. I mean, another 5-10 years, she could do Jamie Lee Curtis thing for I do think it's possible. I actually don't want to throw that out, but see, Halloween has been such, again, and take this with a grain of salt, because this is someone who doesn't even watch them all, but from what I understand, very up and down, right? And Halloween had to be rebooted multiple times. A lot of these Halloween movies did not do well, or they weren't received well, or whatever. So Halloween is in a much more rocky place. Honestly, like if Scream came out and Sam and Tara didn't work, like those characters couldn't do it, then yeah, you'd have to resort to then relying on an aging Sydney as like a Jamie Lee Curtis, like the 60, 70-year-old, person that's still struggling and all this stuff. You'd probably have to do that. But honestly, ironically, or whatever, it worked. Like you found suitable replacements that really, really worked. So you don't need to do that. I think you still could, but I think it would have been more likely you would have gotten that stuff if these movies failed. And some people don't like these movies 5 and 6, but they're making a lot of money. So when I say failed, I guess I mean like financially and stuff. They're a success. They're a slam dunk success. They're everything they probably wanted them to be and some. So you know what I mean? That's how I view it. Let's see. Keep Mindy and Tara. Yep. Do you think you need Sydney for Gale to die? Yeah. I think Sydney needs to be in the movie that Gale dies. I think they will kill Mindy because she's the least popular of the core 4. I think so too. Also, if you end a trilogy, right, do you need the explainer person? Do you need the person that explains everything? Do they need to make it to it? If you keep going to like, Scream 8, 9, 10, maybe. But if there's like a big break, I don't know if you need that character. I'm here still recovering from the headshot. We were talking about you, Quinn Bailey, earlier in the stream. Or maybe in the first stream that I did. These streams got destroyed by YouTube. It would be kind of cool to see one of the killers push Sam to accidentally kill someone in the next movie. That could trigger a much deeper crisis in her. Yes. Whoa. Yeah, I like that idea actually a lot, Skylar. That's a great idea. I think that could I think that's the realistic thing that they will play around with. A killer that really tries to get her to do something. As good as the core 4 is, it doesn't come close to the original trio. Well, yeah, I think there's just like Sydney as a final girl is so iconic. I like Sam for different reasons. It's hard to put them in the same thing. Like him for different reasons, but I do really like Sam. There really is no Dewey, right? Like Dewey's an irreplaceable, and I think you watch the interviews with them, and they do genuinely seem kind of upset and saddened that they've said in interviews that they're still upset that Dewey died in 5, and I get the sense that they would not do it again. Like if they had a redo, I don't think they would do it. I think they'd keep him alive. So I think they regret it. I'll take like an extra step. They've never said that. I'll put words in their mouth. I think they regret killing Dewey because Dewey is just like Randy. You can always have the person that explains things, but Jamie Kennedy's kind of like again his energy level. Even a Matthew Lillard, right? You can never have another Stu. You can have people that are insane. Amber's insane, and she's really good, but you can never do Stu again because he's dead. So Dewey can never really be replaced. And Gale's still around, by the way. You know what I mean? So I get it. There's a Brandon James on the subway. Radio silence confirmed. Yeah. I think we briefly mentioned that a week or two ago. I still haven't seen it. I still have not seen a picture. I'm sure I could probably find it online or something of it, but I do know that it's in it. Have you seen Zach Cherry's breakdown of 6? No, like I said earlier, the only thing I've seen of Zach Cherry's, but people had told me earlier, he gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, right? But I saw one of his titles that said epic fail, and it was his face in 6, and people were kind of dunking on him on Twitter, and that's the only thing I saw. So I only saw that. I thought he didn't like the movie at all, but then people were telling me he liked it, but he didn't like the plot holes in it. I actually don't know. Like I said earlier, I know Jake, Killjoy Jake, I know he really liked it. I don't know how Fate Decided feels about it. Nightwatch, Craven, Steven's been in and out of the hospital and stuff. Well, we're wishing him all the best. I said that in the first live stream. I don't even know. When I talk to him, I just am asking, how he's doing. I don't know I don't even know if he liked the movie or not. I think he did. I think I'd say he did. Beyond the Mask, I actually don't know either. I think he kind of liked it. I don't know. I've been so busy. Honestly, I've only made more work for myself. I have 3 YouTube channels. I actually made a TikTok. I've been doing YouTube shorts that are also TikToks. I've been doing 6 to 7 videos, probably at least 6 to 7 videos a day, Monday through Friday. So what's that? 30 to 40 videos a week. So, I'm just head down into the work, which is probably too much, to be honest with you. But it is where we are where we are. Alex, what do you think about Sam and Danny being the opening, but only Danny dies? I think that's The Rock, I think that's very possible. And I kind of like it because, if you kill Danny, we talk about what would send Sam down a spiral. I think killing Danny would, because I think you can tell a story in between 6 and 7 and say that these two got really close, right? Imagine if Danny and Sam get really close in between 6 and 7. They're really great. Maybe they're engaged, right? Maybe they're going to get married, and he dies from Ghostface. I think Sam flips. I think Sam really goes into oh, man, that could be what they do. Maybe I'd like to make a prediction on that. So what did I say? I think I know the ending. I think I would know what they would do for the ending. Scream. So I'm writing it down because I'll forget. Let's see. Kill Danny to trigger Sam. That's gonna be my note to myself, so I remember it for the future. I think that's a pretty good summation of it, though, isn't it? I want 7 to be full-on radio silent scream, no shoehorning Sydney or Gale in. I get it. I think as they've been very open, though, if they're willing to be in it, I think they're going to let them be in it, right? Sydney, Gale, Kirby. So it's tough. Would you be down for a true requel of 7 where only the original happened? No. Like if if they got rid of 2 through 6? No, I wouldn't be for that. Scream 7 on an asylum? It works. That would be dark. It literally would be dark. Like walls would be stone and like gray or black. Yeah, I mean Sam may end up in an asylum, but I don't know if the movie would be set in an asylum. When Sam sees Billy's costume and she sees Billy, I think she wanted to put Ghostface costume on and become evil. Oh. Yeah, when she puts her hand up on the glass and Tara snaps her out of it. Yeah, I think that was kind of a drawing her to the suit, to the costume. I agree with that. I'm sad but glad they killed Dewey. It really was the stake that a requel needed, and he got an awesome arc in the 5th. Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I think the 5th movie is kind of his most important role. I actually think it's, I don't love, because it kind of does what all these movies do. It makes these characters kind of like drunk losers, like Star Wars did it with Luke Skywalker. It just makes these people pathetic. Dewey's not pathetic in 5 the same way as other characters are kind of dunked on, but he is kind of like down in the dumps, so it's just kind of a cliche I don't love. But his role in 5 is so important. I think David Arquette's acting is extremely good in 5, and I like so many. Every scene with Dewey in it in 5 is extremely good. So I think it was necessary. Yeah, the requel thing. I like it. I like the idea of a requel. I love the meta-ness of 5, and I think they're right. Like they're making a observation on modern films that you need to bring these characters back because it won't sell, without them. And they're saying that out loud in the movie. You need to bring them back, and you need to kill one of them to up the stakes to make it feel real. That's exactly. It's a point on. It's a commentary on what's actually happening, and you have to actually do it though. You can't just say it. You have to do it. So, I think it worked for the film. I think if they had a do-over, you'd have to kind of change the angle of the meta-ness. You'd have to kind of redo it because it wouldn't work. If you didn't kill Dewey, he needed to die. He did. So, the They wanted 6 to be a feel-good film like Scream '96 was. Those are their favorite kind of movies to make. Yeah, I saw that in the interviews, and I think that's fair. I think there's something to that, and because I think they said in an interview, like, rooting for these people to survive, and they do survive. Like, that's just a good feeling. I get that. Now, but you got to balance that with stakes, at least in my opinion. You really got to balance. You can't go too far. These people can't be bulletproof sponges. You have to have stakes. Because that's how you get emotion. You can't get emotional for these people if you know they're always going to be alive. There's no point. You got to be willing to kill them in certain circumstances, and that was a big issue, I think, with 6, is they didn't. I think they gave Chad the full arc. I think they gave Chad so much, and I think it would be so impactful if he died there. I think it made all the sense in the world. I think it adds to the movie. I think he should have died there, and then you keep him alive. So you really deflate a lot of the stuff you just did by keeping him alive. So it's a balance. It's a balance. Well, Fast and Furious is different. It depends on the well, if it's a horror slasher film where people die, it's a different set of expectations. It absolutely is. Scream 6 and 4DX was crazy and intense. Ladder was badass. Stabbing motions and up and down seats. A little headache at the end. Oh my god. Watching live on my Galapagos vacay. Well, thank you for watching when you're on vacation. I'm glad I could be part. Galapagos Island. I don't know how to speak words. Well, thank you for taking me on the... I wish I could see the island. I think maybe we should swap, and I should be on the island to see what it's like, but I couldn't afford that. That's right. My wife likes to commentate behind me. Fate Decided had a lot of problems with it, but liked it, I think. Gotcha. I followed your TikTok a couple days ago. Yes, thank you. I do have a TikTok. I try to post 2-3 times a week there. The link's in the description if you guys want to follow the TikTok. It's podcast now 15, but the link's in the description. If you just click it, it'll take you right to my TikTok. But to clue you guys in, my TikTok videos are my YouTube Shorts videos. So if you watch the Shorts tab on my channel, any of my shorts, it's the same thing. I upload a short. It's the same as the TikTok. So you can watch it wherever you want. But I appreciate you following me there, buddy. Scream 7 will be set in outer space. Hey, Fast and Furious did it. And they did it beautifully, might I add. You see Liana's interview on Quinn? I did. I like that interview a lot about killing her mom and stuff. Which is the better sequel, Scream 2 or Scream 6? Oh, God. Well, see, that's the question, because I actually go back and forth between if I like Scream 2 more or less than Scream 6. So I think they're very close. I think they're both exactly kind of what they needed to be for the franchise. I think the new factor probably helps 6 right now more than 2. So I think I'd lean towards 6, but it's like a recency bias, right? I want to know more about Tara's dad. Do you think he could be one of the killers? I think the motives could be revenge for Christina having Sam with Billy. Yeah, that's definitely possible. And like we said earlier, the idea of the theme of the third movie, the killer being a family member, they could do it. Now, and the difference, and I could honestly see it happening, right? The difference is Sydney's the final girl, and it's her, half-brother or whatever with Roman. And then this movie, it would be Tara's dad, because technically that's not Sam's dad, it's her stepdad, right? But it's Tara's dad, so it's related to Tara, not necessarily related to Sam, and maybe that's how they can say, well, see, it's a little different than 3, because this one's in relation to Tara, whereas that one, Roman, was in relation to Sydney. You gotta watch Zach Cherry, Who Killed Who. Those are very interesting and make good points. Well, I did a Who Killed Who before him on 5. I did a Who Killed Who on 5, and I did a Who Killed Who on 6. I'm very proud of both of those. I actually have watched his Who Killed Who on the 4, on 1 through 4. So I have watched those, and they are good. They're extremely good. Would it be too crazy for someone in Sydney's family was the killer again? Yeah, I think it'd be too crazy, personally. I think you should leave them alone. I think, especially if they're not in the film for so long as they have been. They haven't been in 5 or 6. I don't think it would work. I love to see Tara's dynamic with her dad. Yep, that'd be fun. How can we work this shrine into the plot of 7, having Sydney go through it? Yeah, that's the sad, and that's the thing I think we talked about last week. That's the sad truth with the shrine. That's one of the big things that you miss with not having Sydney is I really would like to see how is her reaction, what kind of emotions are brought up from her walking through the shrine, and you just never get that. I think you may get a mention of it in 7, but I truly think you move on. Like that's the sad truth of it. The more I think about it, the more I get mad at Scream 6 lack of stakes. Just thinking about the impact of Chad's death compared to the absurdity of we have another one alive here. Yeah. There were no stakes to the main characters. That was the biggest. So, I think Chad should have died, and I think that would have made a movie that I already think is very good. I think Scream 6 is extremely good. It would have made it that much better because I think that would help it. The next movie is going to potentially have 7 to 8 returning characters. Yep. I hope there's enough room for a good amount of new suspects. Yeah, that's Robert, that's the main issue. I think I talked about that maybe last week. That's the main problem. If Nev comes back, you will have 8 survivors, right? I mean, you got the number perfect. 7 without her, 8 with her. And that is a lot. That's a ton. So how do you even show that in a trailer, right? Because you have to put them in danger. You have to maybe kill some of them, at least like 2 of those 8. You got to kill some of them. How do you do that? That's tough. And then also, unless you want to make one of them Ghostface, you need new blood to have new kills, all this stuff with them, and one of them needs to be, at least one of them, maybe even 3, like you did in this one, they need to be Ghostface. So you need to add an okay amount on top of 8 people. It's a lot. I think it's too much. I actually easily think it's too much. Hey, Alex. Hello, Bob Brandon. What's going on, buddy? Be cool to see a scene where someone pranks Tara with Ghostface in 7. Chad stabs them, similar to Season 2's opening with Audrey. Yeah. Yep. I think it makes more sense for Sam to act. Well, Tara, I think, works. Sam, like I said, I think would be like pushed off the deep end if one of those close people to her died. I think she would go off the deep end. But that's I forgot about the Scream 2, the Audrey thing. That's a good but she didn't kill. Yeah, she just with a pencil or scissors, wasn't it scissors? She didn't kill the person, she just stabbed them. So, yeah, I actually really like that opening I forgot all about that opening of Season 2. They should have killed Dewey by saving Dewey by saving Gale. Oh, like he saves Gale, in which he dies. Yeah, I think that would have been pretty cool. He saves the final girls. He saves the new blood. He saves Sam. The reason why Tara is still alive is because of Dewey, basically. So, I mean, you can always kind of remember that. What do you think about Maureen? Oh, sorry, not Maureen Prescott, Sam's mom. So what do you think about Sam's mom being revealed as an OG killer who was with Stu and Billy while they killed Sydney's mom? She'd have motive and would tie everything together. Yeah, I mean, everything goes back to the past. Everything seemingly connects to Billy specifically, right? So I do think it's possible that a killer, but at this point, now you got to have killers that are in like their 50s, right, to kind of match Skeet and all that. So you'd have to go kind of older, but I think you could. I don't know if you would do literally that, like there was a third killer, because you've already done that. Like Roman got Billy started, like you already did that part of it. I don't think you want to throw in that there was a third person literally in the room and just nobody ever mentioned them, but somebody that maybe went to school with them or somebody that's been like an onlooker for years. I think it could be that, to be honest. How big of a time jump we need for 7? I'm thinking 3 to 4 years. I think it should be 3 to 4 years, and I think that really worked from Scream 2 to 3. I think it'll be like, well, we talked about this. It's actually pretty tough because they either have to drop out of college or you have to decide. If they want to decide, is 1 year in real life 1 year in the movie? Now, up until this point, really, it has been. Like, the movies have followed the modern years. So if it's only been 1 year between 6 and 7, they have a choice to make. Do you accept that and say it's only been 1 year, or do you make up a time jump? It probably is easier to just do the 1 year, just say it's been 1 year. And so then you have to give a reason why they dropped out of college. Like, you have to have them all dropping out of college. I think you need to do that. I want to see Chad's scars. Yeah, I think Chad needs to be. We talked about this before. Chad needs to be injured from his dealings with Ghostface. Needs to happen. 7 should open with a couple of survivors killed. That would be an opening worth a lot. Yeah. I kind of, your guys' idea of like Sam and Danny together for the opening, and they get attacked and Danny dies and Sam makes it. I love that. I actually think that would be kind of cool. I think, and you'd be killing a survivor. You would be adding to Sam as a character. You'd be signaling they're coming after survivors and they mean business. I think that makes a lot of sense. So, the big twist in Scream 6 would have been if the killer would be Frankie guy from the party. Yeah. He has a taser. That's his weapon, is a taser. Elderly killer. Yeah. I mean, the longer these movies go, you don't have to do it, right? The longer these movies go, you don't have to get like super old characters, but if you always want to connect them back to Billy, if it's been 27 years, 28, 29, 30, then they're supposed to be like in their 50s, in their 60s. Like how old? Now, Dermot Mulroney, I think, is like 59, so he is older. He's got to be older than Laurie Metcalf was at the time, right? So he's, I believe, right? Oh, yeah, he easily has to be the oldest Ghostface killer of all time by like 15 years at least, right? So, you can do it. If they try to make Sam a killer, she should get revenge on Sydney for killing Billy. Maybe Billy gets that in her head, but I just don't think she'd ever do it. I think that was a possibility like in 5. Maybe like Billy convinces her, hey, Sydney's the reason I died. But I don't think Sam cares about Billy in that way enough to like go after, you know what I mean? I get what you're saying. And I think maybe that's something Billy could do, or he could have tried to do in 5 and they just didn't. I think there was an opportunity to do that, and I think they kind of missed it. Or just decided not to do it, Dewey's death hits so hard and still hurts to this day, but after a lot of people complain that none of them died in 4, I can respect Radio Silence for pulling the trigger on it. The only issue I have is, I agree with that. The only issue I have is you do that in 5 and then you get too scared to do it in 6, right? Like I get the sense they literally did not want to kill anyone in 6 because they killed Dewey in 5. And then it's like, okay, so you kill an original. You kill one of the fan favorites, Dewey. And then you don't kill anybody else in 5 or in 6, right? So you keep all these people alive. So now what are you trying to say, right? That you value, I guess that is what you're saying. You value Mindy, Chad, Tara, Sam more than Sydney, Gale, Dewey. And I guess that's true, and you kind of have to do that. But that's where I'm at. I think that the cold feet to kill anybody now is annoying when you killed a fan favorite, one of the legendary characters in the last film. So now, the way you easily make up for this is in 7, you kill a couple of your own. You kill Danny, you kill Mindy, you kill Tara, you kill a combination, whatever it is. You kill like 3 of them, and okay, you're not afraid to kill your own characters, you're not afraid to kill old characters. It's good. I'd be fine with that. What about Sydney and Mark as the opener? Mark dies. It would be a twist to have Sydney being in the opener. Plus, the killer's motive is always to kill Sydney. Why don't they ever go for her first? Well, it's not to kill Sydney necessarily now, right? But I do agree with that. I think that's possible. I mean, to get Patrick Dempsey back and to have him be an opening kill, I think would be kind of wild. I have nothing really against that. Maybe. Except for then you'd be leaving Sydney with 2 kids on her own. So the dad would be dead. And then if Sydney has to, like, go finish off Ghostface with Sam and them, where do the kids go? That'd be kind of dark. Right? Do you have an actor you'd like to see join the franchise beyond an opening kill? Oh, God. Not really. I'm not really into... Like, I'm sure there are there's some people that are good and all that. No, I really, Jensen Ackles. I like Jensen Ackles. I like a lot, like, of voice actors and stuff. I don't really know. I don't really think I have, people will do their fan casting of, like, a Sydney Sweeney kind of thing. Fine. I don't really care. And I think that's kind of helped me because I've kind of embraced like a lot of these, like Dylan Minnette. I did know because I watched 13 Reasons Why. I really like that show. It kind of got too crazy by the end or went off the deep end, but I knew him, but I didn't know. I didn't know, well, Jack Quaid, I guess I knew, but a lot of these characters, or even like a Devin Nakota, like I didn't watch Degrassi. I didn't watch any of these. I didn't know who she was, and I thought she killed it as Annika. Liana Liberato, I feel like I've seen her. I feel like she's been acting for like her entire life. I don't know that for sure. It just feels like it. So I think I've seen her, but I've never, like, I didn't know what she brought to the table. Danny, Josh, I've never seen these people. So I think that helps because, when people say they don't watch the trailers, they don't watch the TV spots, they just go into the movie blind. Honestly, I do that a lot with actors. A lot. Dermot Mulroney, I've never seen any of his stuff. All these comedies, rom-coms, I've never seen him act. So seeing him in interviews and seeing him in Scream, that was like my first time doing it. Even like, I guess, did I ever watch anything Jenna Ortega before Scream 5? I don't think so. Melissa Barrera, I didn't either. So a lot of those things I went in completely blind, to be honest with you. So that's my kind of way of going in blind, and I feel like it helps. Scream 7, I see one of Mindy's quotes with a group being, so I take it Tara's not dying a virgin. Probably. Yeah, I mean, someone can be older if they look like Bill Goldberg, but I started picturing an old lady. That would be super creepy now that I typed all that. Yeah. I mean, like a Dermot Mulroney, 59, but I think he looks like Johnny Depp's 59. Like these people in their late 50s, early 60s, I think they can still do it. It's when you get into the 70s, into the 80s, you can't have that. You can't have that. Tara's too cute to die. I mean, Tara would just be so impactful, right? If she died, that'd be wild. I think the internet may explode, to be honest with you, but it would be wild. I think in the opening it should be Danny and Sam, and Danny dies, and Sam ran up the stairs like Sydney in Scream 1 and 3. Yeah, I like that idea. Ghostface with a machine gun, death traps, motives. Movies have to get bigger and bigger, right? Maybe like a machete. Maybe like a machete. I don't know. Machine gun, probably too much. Death traps, maybe like a bear trap. I don't know. Some trap on the ground. Detective Bailey was my favorite Ghostface in 6. Dermot's got unnecessary backlash for his acting. Yeah, I've said it before. I like him more than I think most. I'm kind of in the above. He's above average. I think some people he's average or below. Detective Alex, you've skipped 2 times already. What's up with that? What's that mean? I've skipped 2 times already. Like stream? Ghostface with a katana would be a badass look. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. I only knew Melissa Barrera from In the Heights. I knew she was in the Heights. I never watched In the Heights. Nobody watched it. To be honest with you, I mean, like people will, kind of grill her, or she's talked about in like interviews and stuff. I mean, In the Heights was a flop, like a massive flop in the box office. Like nobody saw that movie. Even the demographic they were going for didn't see the movie. So I don't know how the quality of it. I don't really care. I never watched it. I never will. But I knew she was in it. But honestly, the most I knew from In the Heights is that it flopped. Like, that's the most I knew. So I was like, oh, okay. I hope she does better here. I mean, I think she was good in that movie from what I hear. But hopefully, like, this movie doesn't flop. You know what I mean? No, you've skipped my last 2 comments. No, I didn't. Nuh-uh. 7 should open with a couple of survivors killed. That would be an opening worth a lot. I read that, and I commented to it. Also, well done for keeping up with the comments. Thank you. Liana was my favorite Ghostface reveal performance. Some of Dermot's lines almost felt cartoonish, but I still love his character. Yeah, I think I'm fully with you. Liana, Quinn's was the best reveal of those 3. I think she was kind of the most, like, well put together of those 3. But I actually really did like... And Dermot, yeah, he did get a little cartoony sometimes, and I actually really liked it. To be honest, like, I really did. Because, I mean, you go back, like, Stu's also kind of wild. Like, does Stu is Matthew Lillard like the greatest actor of all time? Is Stu the greatest, like, is it the most acted out well character? No, it's kind of wild. It's kind of wacky. He's a wacky character. I think Bailey's biggest flaw is you don't really get enough of his goofiness. He is mainly serious in the movie, so that when he starts to act really wacky at the end, you're like, well, you've never really, like, Stu was always like that. There was really no hiding who Stu was. Bailey kind of hit it, and I think that kind of felt off at the ending. That was probably their biggest mistake, to be honest with you. Second was a repost since you skipped the first. Well, I did read it. Go back like 10 minutes. I did read it, and I did comment on it. What could be Kirby's role moving forward if they do decide to bring her back? Probably just someone who's like experienced it that can like pick stuff out, another helping hand. To be honest with you, like 6, her role being pretty integral to in a lot of ways. I think that's probably the most you'll ever get, right? Because, like, she can't keep taking cases in different cities as an FBI agent to, like, insert herself. I don't really think you can. Now, I think she'll go out of her way. But you know what? At the same time, like, Dewey was always that character who he followed Sydney, right? In 2 specifically. So I think you can do it. I think if Kirby just, like, takes a couple weeks off of work and goes to help these girls, I think she can still do it. Be impactful, even if she's not like on the. You know what? So I'll take that back, because I think Dewey kind of proves that these characters can follow each other and it can still work. I want the original California locations back for the next film, with a cult of killers wearing 3D printed stew masks and a vineyard chase with a winery cave chase and a lake setting for part of it. Oh my god. The cult killers wearing 3D printed stew masks. That'd be fun. I said I'd like 7's motive to be someone who's simply fed up with how long it's gone and wants survivors to die for all of it to stop. Oh. No, I didn't see that comment. No, yeah, that comment, by the way, didn't show up. But I'll respond to it now. Okay, someone who's simply fed up. I think, yeah, I actually like that idea for 6, to be honest with you. A killer who's just like, this, I've had enough of this stuff. And honestly, you can kind of play into that with like a meta-ness where it's like, these movies have gone on too long. We have to stop them before they get stale. Like, let's just kind of wipe the slate clean. I think you can kind of get meta with that, to be honest with you. I like that idea. I think that idea would work. Do you think they save like a cliffhanger ending or something special like that for spin-off movies? Yeah, I mean, if you were gonna do a cliffhanger ending, it would have been in 6, right? You don't do it for 7, so I think you'd have to do it if you did a TV show or something like that. Yeah, you can't steal a police car. Honestly, love seeing Jenna stealing a police car. That was his wackiness that I actually really did like. So. You can't steal. Yeah, just the way he says that, and he kind of goes like this. You can't steal a police car. That was cool because it was his wackiness. And also when he's telling Kirby about the therapist being stabbed in the nose. In the nose, can you believe it? That was good too. Those were both moments where he was a little bit more goofy, cartoonish. I think there needed to be more of that. I think those were great scenes. I think if he acted more like that the whole time, when he does his monologue and stuff that kind of puts people off, I think people would have liked it more. I think Chad will follow Sam like Dewey did Sydney. Well, I think Sam and Tara will always stay together, and Chad will follow Tara, and Danny will follow Sam. So and then Mindy will tag along. See, Mindy's quickly becoming the odd woman out. Like she is. She kind of always. Well, no, she wasn't always, because there was no relationship amongst them in 5. But, Chad being connected to Tara and Sam, Danny and Sam. Mindy and Chad. So I guess Mindy follows Chad. I guess you could say that. But that's like the furthest. That's the furthest connection. So that one is. That's a reason I think that you can put Mindy in danger. Okay, we'll probably, let me just read the rest of these, and then we'll probably head off. I'm glad that the stream, I don't know why the stream didn't just work the first time, but I'm glad it worked this time. I'm glad Radio Silence are close to their cast, but I can't help but think that's why they're hesitant to kill returning members. I honestly have the exact same. I think there's so much of a family in real life that could kind of sink into the subconscious where they're afraid to kill him in the movie. I think so. The writers are kind of separate, so maybe that's not true, but I think it's true to an extent. I think it's partly true. But I do kind of believe that, to be honest with you. I knew Bailey was the killer when he said something along the lines of Quinn has an alibi. Yes, yeah. As soon as he said, I can speak for Quinn. I think that's what he says. Well, I can speak for Quinn. Yeah, as soon as he said that, it's like, all right, you two are. And then Quinn says the same thing. Well, my dad's a cop, so we're both good. All right. You got to knock out those lines. And, I said that for Ethan. Ethan was way too, I'm part of the group. Oh, I can't be the killer. Oh, what if I get killed? All this overcompensating. You don't need them to say those lines. You don't need, those kind of fountain scenes in, like, 1 are so good because it builds character. You really don't know. Like, Randy is kind of sketchy. Billy and Stu are obviously very sketchy. Tatum really is never sketchy. But, they don't do it. I don't think they do it that well in these newer ones. Do we just go back to the white ghost face? Yeah, no joke. I'm something different. Great name. I thought about that yesterday or the day before. I was thinking, for the next movie, you have to go back to just a plain mask. And is that going to almost feel like less, like, are we going to be like less intimidated by Ghostface now because we've gotten used to the aged mask? I think there could be a sense of that, but it's all in execution. It's how in Ghostface acts. If Ghostface is a brutal murderer in 7, killing main characters, killing them, brutally, all that stuff, I think you'll fear them. You have to give us a reason to fear these people. A mask is a great, easy way of doing it immediately without doing anything, right? You just give them a look. The look is scary. The look is intimidating. That's great, but you don't need that. You can have the normal mask. Like Happy Death Day, the stupid baby, that mask is awful, I think. I think it's so stupid. But it's what they do. It's not really how they... Ghostface is so iconic, right? It'll always have that look. Could Broadway work as a setting, or would it be too similar to... I've seen people say... I've seen the speculation that they'd like... Not them, Radio Silence. I've seen people say, they wouldn't mind them staying in New York. I wouldn't mind it either. I think you could do it again. I agree, Alex. I needed more goofy Dermot. Yeah, we're on the same page. I think the only line from Bailey that felt off was, you guys went through so much when they're at the shrine. It feels forced and faked. Yeah, it feels forced and fake, honestly, man. And it also, what's funny about that scene is it's right after Quinn's dead. So, like, he just lost his daughter. Do we know that he lost a son? Does he say that at that point? Maybe. So... Oh, yeah, Quinn talks about her dead brother. Yep, so he does know. And he says, both my children are dead when he walks out of the alleyway. He says, both my children are dead, so, I want to kill this person, all that stuff. So he just lost 2 people, his kids. There's, honestly, at least from what I hear, there's nothing worse than losing your kids. I believe that. So, him saying you've all gone through so much, you just lost your daughter. Like, shouldn't you be going through stuff too? So that was kind of a dead giveaway as well. The plot twist of Quinn being alive got me, though. LOL. Yeah, I think it was a great attempt. I think, not killing her on screen is the first giveaway, but, what are you going to do, right? If you want to fake out death, you can't kill them on screen because then they're actually dead. So I definitely get that. Except for Billy. Actually, except for Billy. Billy was a fake out death. People don't really bring up Billy. In fact, I kind of forget about that often. When you think about fake out deaths in Scream, the first one is Roman, right? Because you literally see with a knife sticking out, he's dead. Now, they check his pulse and he's dead, so that doesn't make any sense to me. But Billy was killed on screen. So you probably could. Now, modern day Hollywood, can you kill somebody on screen with that kind of blood and with the attention to detail? Can you do that without actually killing them off? It'd be a lot harder. I think back in 96, it made it look like Billy died, he was dead, and then he really wasn't. So, if they kill Gale in 7, they need to bring Sydney back. Yes. Now, I'm against killing Gale and killing Sydney, but I do agree with that. Favorite Tara one-liner? Come on, mother effer, at the end. The back-to-back. I think that's a good one. I feel like the OG Ghostface mask was wasted on these killers. I feel like the mask was going to be used before Sydney pulled out, but they had to change the motive. Possible. That's a good thought. I think they won't kill Gale. Yeah, I think so too. Also, leave a like. Yes, please leave a like. Yeah, you're right. Just after losing his daughter, the line feels even worse. Yeah, it does. It's a bad line. It's not a well-placed line. I heard someone say that they should have saved the shrine for the end of the trilogy, and I agree. It feels like a concluding thing. Yeah, it feels like a summation of all of the killers, and like a buildup of Richie's work that lasts 3 movies. I think that's right. I'm trying not to sneeze. I do feel like that's right. Gotta go. It's been fun. Sorry to see the government took down your stream down twice. They don't want this crucial information getting out there. Yeah, I'm a risk to them. No, thanks, buddy. Thanks, Cloud Roth, for the super chat. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. I'm about to head off as well. Roman having no pulse was explained in the director's commentary. Something about putting pressure on a vein to stop the blood pumping. Shame it was not explained in the movie. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I'll buy it. I mean, that's probably a real thing, right? So I would definitely buy that. What was the point of Bailey killing his daughter anyway? That's a lot of trouble to go through instead of just not killing her. If they all survived, wouldn't Bailey have to hide her forever? Yep, I've gone through that. I think that's a really fatal flaw of the film that, yeah, my wife pointed that out, I think, as soon as we kind of walked out of the movie theater. That was a mistake because, yeah, you have to be in hiding forever. How do you fake her death to all these people? You really went out of your way to do that. You did not need to do that. And he really made life harder for himself if they succeeded. So, yes. At least we finally had a redhead Ghostface. We did. We did. Are you still doing the movie versus trailer video? You know, honestly, I'm not 100% sure. I do think I want to talk specifically about the line of I'm something different. I do think I want to bring that up in a video, but I'm unsure about the movie versus trailer video. I know I promised it, but I think I have to back off. Well, we'll see, though. All right, I'm probably going to end it here. I think most plot holes of Scream 6 can be explained. Ghostface's plan to head to Mexico. Yeah, if they just plan to, like, leave the country, I think that explains a lot of stuff, right? All right, guys, I super appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much. I know we had technical difficulties, but no, I really appreciate you sticking with me for 3 live streams. There really was just supposed to be 1. It means a lot. So thank you all. There'll be Scream videos still. I actually got one on Kirby going out over the weekend. Next week, you know, I don't know when the next live stream will be, but we'll definitely do more. And we'll constantly have videos out. Wait for Scream 7 news to come out. But lots of stuff, okay? So thank you all for the support, for the likes, for the super chats. Really do appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you all on the Scream videos and on the Scream live streams. Bye, guys.